Yo, what is up, 5-9 gamers? It is that time once again for the Dokkan Battle Podcast. I am your host, Masked Ningen, and we are here with episode 74. Saiyan Day is here. So we have an interesting episode for you guys today. As always, I have a panel of guests here with me to discuss all of the current and upcoming topics in Dokkan Battle. So first of all, we have the man himself, DaTruth. How's it going?
Ohio, 5-9 gamers.
We have the boy Minato.
I love Tech Ultimate Gohan.
I'm sure nobody knew that. So we also have our man Ice Cold Joker. How's it going?
Good morning, everyone. I can't wait to get blasted this entire episode.
And then back after quite a long time away, he's been on, I think, once before. We have our boy Ignant as well. How's it going, dude?
I also love Tech Ultimate Gohan.
Oh, there you go. So,
Yeah.
lot of Tech Ultimate Gohan love in the house. So, we're not here to talk about Tech Ultimate Gohan. I mean, well, he's going to come up, I'm sure. But, of course, with the title of the episode, the main thing we have to talk about, first of all, is, of course, Saiyan Day. So, the celebration has rolled around once again. And we have a new Dokkan Fest unit, a new side banner unit to discuss. So yeah, I guess we're just going to open things up straight away. So Masked Vegeta is the new Dokkan Fest exclusive unit available on both versions of the game. Brings with him a new 200% team, which is of course the first 200% team for global. So yeah, I guess we will. I mean, I don't know where we're even going to start with this, but I'm just gonna let you guys jump in. So yeah, what do you think of Masked Vegeta?
Who's going first?
No.
I'll let them talk and then I'll clean up with the truth after they're done. Go ahead.
Clean up. Okay.
Here we go.
You go first.
Oh, I can go first.
Clearing
Yeah.
his throat.
Okay, well. All right, so I think Masked Vegeta is good. I would probably go as far as to say I think he's very good. I don't think he's as good as some of the TURs that have released recently, especially on JP. Obviously, from a global perspective, he's probably one of the best TURs in the game at the moment. And of course, he does bring with him, as we said, the first 200% meta team for global. So obviously, I've been having a lot of fun trying out that team, trying out units on a 200% lead. He definitely has problems with his kit, that is true, but I feel like he's one of those units that, like Tech Gohan, is just going to be talked about for ages because people are either super overrating him or super underrating him, but I'm enjoying using him. I've only got him at 55%, but I think he's pretty decent, so.
Yeah, I guess Ningen and I'll go first, and then Minato and Truth can clean up.
Yeah, I guess I'll go. So what I want to
screw me.
Well, you can go too. It doesn't just hop in, whatever. But what I think about Masked Vegeta is I still think he's really good, right? People, even though I slandered him, if you've seen, I kind of like talk about how I don't like his kit. I think the thing is that I don't like his kit. When you really set him up and have him like in his best situation, he'll look very, very powerful. He'll look very good. Not offensively, but defensively, which is what he's meant to do. He will like destroy even the red zone and stuff like that. You know, he could be really good in those situations. But my issue is that he has too many restrictions. You need to have 6 orbs with him, so you have to run GT Vegeta next to him because that's like one of the only orb changers you have, right? And that shares a lot of links with him on most of his teams. Then you need to run out Trunks on the team, which Trunks doesn't work really that well with Masked Vegeta, unfortunately. So then because of that, you have to run a unit that will either help supplement Trunks or like another support type unit. So at that point, that's like a lot of your team already built up. And then that's only on his own team. Some of his teams you can't even run Trunks, for example, like Pure Saiyan's like one of the better teams, and that's just unfortunate. I think it's just more so I have issues with his design and his usage across the game compared to his actual performance. And it's like if you're gonna have to build a team around him like that, he should have been better, like how good Ginyu is when you have the team built around him. But that's my opinion on that matter. I think he's still very good, but just a little disappointing, right? Well, more than a little, but yeah.
I'm pretty much in the same boat. I really wanted him to be good because Masked Vegeta is one of my favorite forms of Vegeta, as Vegeta being one of my favorite characters. but he just has a lot of iffy stuff in his kit that makes me dislike him a lot. He's a very great defensive unit. I know people can't read on Twitter and thought I said he's a bad defensive unit. Y'all idiots. But my thing is his defense, it's really good, but it's not good enough to justify how awful his offense is. And I think he should also be a lot better for how much you have to do to be able to run the unit. Because you can link him like Tech Maja Vegeta, you can bring the Int GT Vegeta with him and stuff like that. But those are also units that need a lot of orbs. So you're going to have to get 6 orbs with the Int Maja Vegeta. If you run the Tech Maja Vegeta, you need 6 orbs for him. If you're going to run the GT Vegeta, you need to get orbs for him. Then you need the Trunks on the team as well. And then Trunks is going to be an issue because he's going to be a unit that doesn't link with Maja Vegeta. So you have to either run him as a floater or get another unit that links with him. And so you're just left for like one free slot at that point, basically, because you're just trying to get this Vegeta to his max capabilities, which I just think is too much effort for what he does, personally. He's kind of reminds me of Grade 8 Vegeta, but Grade 8 Vegeta is like also really good. He's just really wonky. Like, I'm not saying the unit's bad. I think he's probably like top 7 TURs. There's definitely a bit above him. He's just not bad by any means. It's just the Vegeta shaft, dude. They just always make him so wonky for no reason, man. It's so frustrating.
So yeah, go on. I was gonna say, Joker, if you've got anything else to add.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have too much to add because everything about him has essentially been covered in either the good side or the bad side. Like, do I have problems with Vegeta? Yes. Do I wish that he was better? Yes. But, you know, I was running him the other day on his team, and it was him and the Tech Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta, and then the other side was the EZA Fizz Goten and Fizz Trunks and AGL Goten, and they were putting up like 7 million attack stats with 400k defense, so that rotation is fine. And then we go back to Majin Vegeta's rotation, and yes, if you don't get the orbs, his defense will suffer. Trunks was on that team, so you did get that damage reduction, so he can look very good in that scenario. But then, yeah, you take him out of that scenario, and you're pretty much not going to run him in slot 1. You're going to run him in slot 2, where you still might die, or you might just relegate him to a floater, which is unfortunate because it's Majin Vegeta, and you want him on rotation, you want to see him do flashy damage. But he also, at least in 55%, doesn't do flashy damage unless you get the active skill off, which you also is kind of difficult to get. And then it's just, there's the disconnect that we have right now, unfortunately, because the games aren't synced up, where Global's hardest stages are the God event and Extreme Super Battle Road, and JP has the Red Zone, which is infinitely more harder than both of those stages, and so it's almost an unfair comparison of how he competes on Global versus JP. So once we get the Red Zone, I'm sure things will look much different for the Global community, when he definitely doesn't look as good as what he does on Global currently. But that's my thoughts.
Yeah, but they released that Goten and Trunks with him. I feel like what they really should have done is to really help out this Vegeta, because like Ginyu, you have to run a lot of units to make him work too. But the difference is they released a whole bunch of like godly Ginyu Force units that work well with him and also hold their own as well. I feel like they should have did the same thing with Vegeta. Like, give us support Trunks that helps with the key issues. You get the condition for him. Make him an orb changer too while you're at it or something. And you pretty much just fix his whole kit with that one unit. Kind of like how Full Power Frieza basically unlocks... not Full Power Frieza. Third Form Frieza basically, like, fully unlocks Full Power Frieza's potential. Just a unit like that would have helped this Majin Vegeta a lot. And I think would have put him, like, the top 3 at that point. Yeah. It just has too much restrictions and stuff in his kit.
Yeah, they really could have made it so that the side banner unit, just like they did with Ginyu, the side banner unit could have been designed in such a way to like really support his flaws and to really strengthen him. Because like you said, making him an orb changer would have been obviously really good for a unit that has a number of orbs restriction. Plus, you know, we've seen a few side banner units lately that aren't support units, but obviously making him a support unit would have been very, very good as well. So before I open the stage for Truth to come in and finalize this topic, one thing I did want to pick up on is, Iggy, you said it, and I've seen some people say it as well, the fact that his defense is not good enough to make up for him doing terrible damage. But when you're below the 88% HP, he's hitting like 7-8 million attack stats, isn't he? Like, is that terrible damage now? I thought that was pretty decent.
It's more like 5 to 6 million. I think so. Because the thing is, all the other units, they're doing a lot of damage, but they also have built-in additionals, built-in crits, which is also another issue I have with them. Literally just give him a chance to additional super attack, and I would be perfectly fine with his offense. Like, because you have Super Saiyan 3 Goku able to drop 7 million attack stats in the turn if you really wanted to.
Yeah, with the 70% chance to crit. That is the issue for Majin Vegeta, is that his offense, like you could see he did 7 million attack stat, cool. But it's like all these other recent we're comparing them to other units of the same type, right?
Yep.
Dokkan Fest heroes, Ginyu, Kid Buu, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Trunks are all shooting out 1 billion attacks and they got crits, and Ginyu is super effective against all types, right? And it's like Vegeta, they just are like, yeah, here you go. He just does 1 attack and that's it.
Okay, well, yeah. Is there anything else you wanted to add, or because Truth, the floor is yours to give us the final thoughts on Masked Vegeta before we move on.
I think he's ridiculously good. He's super, super, super busted for sure. But I just think that the other recent TURs, I feel like Ginyu, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, Kid Buu, and I mean, the androids, it's hard to tell with them. I need to see them under 200% leader skill first. But a lot of these other recent TURs just, I feel like, perform better. Majin Vegeta can fulfill his role, but he's got a lot of conditions as well, right? Like, the thing with Ginyu and his team is that it's so tight, right? They dropped 2 busted banner units who are his perfect friends. They really would have helped, I think, had that Trunks and Goten like done something for Vegeta. I think that they should have been either an orb changer to help Vegeta get his 6 orbs, or just be an outright support type unit, right? Because they made this Trunks and Goten, who has the same name as the Dokkan Fest last year. It's very bizarre. And they don't help Vegeta. Vegeta's a unit that needs help. The GT Dokkan Fest Vegeta, you know, he's nice. Like, he could be okay. But he's not tanky in the red zone. He's taken 100k plus from some of these big bosses, right? It gets very scary in there. So it's just Vegeta's got like a lot of quirks where I feel like you can get caught with him easily. But if things go right, he's going to look like one of the better units in the game. I think him and Great Ape Vegeta actually have a lot of similarities. In that Great Ape Vegeta's got some wonkiness, and so does Majin Vegeta. But they're both really good, and they could look really good. But they could also look really bad at the same time.
All right, so yeah, we touched on them very briefly, but obviously the other new unit that released was the STR Goten and Trunks. As we covered, they're not a support unit. They have a very interesting design for their kit.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So who wants to start us off with a quick rundown of Goten and Trunks and what you think about them?
I'll go. I just want to say that the big issue with them is that they want to get dodge, but they can only get dodge in a very specific part of the turn, where it's in the first slot after they attack, because that's how the passive works, and it's really disappointing. I think what they should have had is they should have had unconditional high chance of dodge across all the slots that they're in, and then they should have given like 3 key 40% attacking defense to Majin Buu Saga or something, and they would have been way better, right? But because they don't have that, they're just kind of like a mini Goten and Trunks, the physical one, and it's like you're not really gonna run them. Unfortunately, I just feel like, you know, they're just there. They don't even like, once you build them up, they can look good, but I think they're just for difficult content, you just can't, right?
I would have been okay if they had like Videl's slot 1 chance to dodge just freely, even if it's only a 50% chance. I think
that's because it's so stupid, because they know with Videl that you could tell they know how that passive works because of Videl, and then they still give it to other units like this. It's like, okay, thanks.
Yeah, if you're gonna gate half of a unit's passive around being able to dodge, and then they can only dodge in one very specific situation outside of you supplementing it with the hidden potential system, then it is pretty awkward. Because I know I saw a Truce video and I did my own to test out the 55% one, and I got multiple turns where there were attacks in slot 1 before they were attacking, and then no attacks after they attacked. So they literally had no chance to dodge at 55%. So very strange design, especially because we've seen a lot of really, really good side banner units recently. So definitely is a little bit disappointing, I think, overall.
What numbers did they put up?
Sorry?
Isn't it also only like a 50% after attack? It's not even guaranteed.
Yeah, it's 50%.
50%.
So they have that whack restriction. It ain't even like a guaranteed dodge or something. You still can just get mopped.
Yep, exactly.
What damage numbers did they put up? Because I haven't used my 90% one yet.
I think at 55%, even after getting, I think mine had 2 dodges, and then the other part of their passive just builds up with the number of attacks they perform. I think that was fully built up. They were at like 3.5 or something, which 55%. I mean, it's not terrible, but like Minato was saying, they don't really do anything for the team. So you'd only be running them potentially for activating Vegeta's intro animation, and that's basically it. I don't know where else you would necessarily run them. So those are the units on the banner. The banner itself, general thoughts. I don't think many people would disagree that the banner is not particularly good.
I think the banner's fine. Not particularly good. I think it's okay. Because you look at it, you got Int Broly, who, I mean, here's how I'm looking at it. Red Zone, right? Int Broly performs well in the red zone. Tech Gogeta performs well in the red zone. Majin Vegeta performs well in there. You're not going to find a lot of banners that have that many units who are going to do good in there. I'll promise you that. So, like, I looked at it and I was like, okay, like, there's units that players could actually utilize in the difficult... Because a lot of people will reply with, well, more matters than red zone, which is true, but everything in the game is easy besides red zone, right? Like, is that fair?
I mean, if they do well in red zone, they're going to clap up the other content anyway, more than likely.
Yeah, it makes sense. I think it's just the fact, obviously, the Saiyan Day banners are always kind of like this. If you look back at the Broly one from last year, it had like STR, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, and the physical one. So people shouldn't really be surprised to see physical transforming Vegeta and the other older Vegetas on there. Obviously, AGL Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta's on there because he's getting his Easy A. Is this the first return of Tech Gogeta on JP as well, or is it just for global? Yeah. So
it is, yep.
Tech Gogeta coming back is obviously good. It means he's available with red coins. If you don't want to summon.
So real quick, global typically has a couple of units who it's kind of like a global shaft, right? The worldwide units don't come back for 100 years. Saiyan Day unit doesn't come back for 100 years. For JP, the one unit like that is this one, the Tanabata Dokkan Fest.
Yeah, because I wasn't sure whether they had returned on JP or not. So yeah, that is quite a significant wait. Because yeah, the Broly, of course, did not return on Global for about 10 months, but that was due to them releasing the Super Vegeta banner way later than it was released in the JP timeline. So be interesting to see whether that happens again. So just for everyone here, very briefly, before we move on to the next topic, how did your summons actually go for the units in general? Because I'm assuming everybody here actually summoned for them, or at least summoned for Majin Vegeta, at least a little bit. Obviously, we know Truth, he got the rainbow, so how difficult was it? And then everyone else can let us know how they got on.
It didn't really feel that bad. Like, I had a multi with 2 Majin Vegetas in it, so that felt good.
Oh, nice.
It could have been easier, but not enough to where I was upset or frustrated at all. It wasn't that bad. 3,800, I'll take it. Sure.
Yep. So let's go down the list then. So Joker, I think you were in a fairly similar position to me, right? You got pretty destroyed by this banner.
Yeah, it took 2,050 stones for my first copy of Majin Vegeta, and on the way, I essentially rainbowed everybody else on the banner, besides Evolution Blue Vegeta, who I only pulled 1 copy of. But the kids, I have 90%. I pulled 6 copies of the Int Blue Vegeta. No, I pulled 6 copies of Bardock, 5 copies of Int Blue Vegeta, 4 Gogetas, 4 Transforming Vegetas. I was so upset. I did not have fun.
Yes. Iggy, what about you? Did you summon on your actual account, or have you just been doing the...
I did a single summon, and that was it.
Fair enough. And then Minato, I know you got him, but how was your experience?
It wasn't that bad. It took me 850 stones until I got him, right? So it's not like the greatest ever. But I only really care about 1 copy. I mean, I'm just doing some multis here and there, right? Just in case I do snag a dupe, because that's important for him. But I think I did pretty solid overall at the very least. So that's cool.
Yeah, and yeah, I
think...
Go on.
Real quick, I know we're kind of passive. I think that's another issue I have with Majin Vegeta, is him being Int, so you can't even get like the additionals and stuff at 55%.
Whoa, cowboy. That allows me to get extra points in dodge.
I knew this was going to come up at some point.
To be fair, we did just have, if you're on JP, you did just have the anniversary with the not the EX, but the Skill Orb event for Vegetas and Gokus, right?
Yeah, you could do that.
So that was pretty cool.
And yeah, my experience was very similar to Joker. I got my 1 copy, 1 multi before you. It was exactly 2,000 stones to get 1 copy. And And I think at this point I am 2,500 in total, and I still haven't pulled a second copy, so not great. Hopefully we don't have to wait as long this time for him to come back on global, because definitely would like dupes for him. But obviously, just for global, getting the one copy was the most important, so you can actually run a 200% team. But would be nice to have dupes, but I guess we'll see. We have the not a lot of extra stones coming up, but I guess we will see. So, we got the new units. We talked about them. 200% leader skill for global. So, in terms of other new units, we have Goku and Vegeta Jr. So,
so real quick, so Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr., they were made incorrectly on GP for whatever reason. They're still slated to be buffed. So it's, I actually need more time before, I want to see what they look like. It should actually be fairly noticeable. An extra 2,000 all stats on an LR is big. So
it's like it feels like could feel like a TUR easier, right? But global does have it already fixed when it comes out, so
it's just that they don't have the proper like units, right? Like the big GT hero team. That's the one thing.
Yeah, because I did my I don't think it's not up yet, but I recorded my video for them because it says in the notes here I wasn't actually sure on this, so me and Toe, they are actually the way they should be on global, and we're just waiting for the JP fix. Is that correct?
yes, that is correct.
So yeah, I wasn't super impressed with them. Obviously, the GT for global, the GT Heroes team is slightly different. I don't think, although to be fair, they're not under a 200% leader anyway, are they? Because they're not on Kamehameha, are they?
Yeah, I just realized, don't they do the Kamehameha on the super attack? It's just not in the name.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I think they do, but I don't.
That's so stupid. Okay.
But yeah, they weren't super impressive to me. I mean, I joked about it when they were revealed during the EX part of the JP anniversary. They're not a character that strikes me as being particularly hype. I don't know if anyone would disagree with that, but obviously I see how they fit the theme, ending the celebration. So it's kind of interesting that they did release them on global now, because obviously that means that is a part of the last part of the anniversary that we won't get, which is kind of interesting that they've decided to do it that way. But yeah, based on their performance, either how they are now on JP or if you have tried them out on global, what do you guys think of them? Minato, I know you love Hybrid Saiyan, so can you find it in your heart to also love this unit as well? What do you think about them?
Again, I want to wait and try myself when they're actually fixed on JP. I think it's disappointing because they should have given them defense raising on super attack. I think that would have really helped them out. I just feel like it's just unfortunate that all the 7th anniversary free-to-play units kind of are a little underwhelming, but I don't want to say just for sure, right? At the very least, I think in certain situations, they can look pretty solid at least, when you're able to get like 4 super attacks with them, and they could look like okay. But I don't think even I can find it in my heart to like them that much, unfortunately.
Yeah. They just kind of suck, man. Also, you're talking about the units and them being hype and stuff. Dude, I love GT, and I always forget they even exist. Like, I always forget they're even characters, dude. Like, when they showed up in the news or whatever, it's like, dude, what? Oh, yeah, they do exist.
Yeah, exactly. They're in, like, 2 minutes of the last episode or something? But,
yeah.
I mean,
barely there.
Like I said, with the release of their timing of their release on JP, then obviously it kind of makes sense, right? Because it's capping off a celebration that's all about like Goku and Vegeta and their, rivalry throughout time and their legacy and so on and so forth. So it does make perfect sense. If they were to have just released at a random time, kind of like they have on Global, then they definitely do come across as like a random choice. But I mean, I said in my video, like, I'm not mad at them getting a card, right? It's cool that characters that don't have cards get cards, but I don't feel like they're a choice that many people would be particularly hype about. Plus, the grind was kind of annoying, so I did my usual.
Still doing the grind.
I did my usual, just using Kais on them. I don't care. I'm not doing that grind 3 times to get them to SA25. So.
What's funny is that on JP we had like the 3 minute
Yeah.
refresh and the 5 boosts and shit like that, so people were grinding it easily.
Yeah, dude, I was doing it because they have the category bonus is youth. So I was using a full LR youth team, and I was using one of the support memories that gives you the extra boost percentage. And I was having runs where I was still only getting 1 or 2 medals. And for the LR awakening, you need 50. So I was just like, no, I'm not doing that for 150 medals. I'll use some of these like 200 odd Kais that I've got because that's what they're there for. So.
Well, that's why it's taking me so long to do them, because I'm getting like 1 or 0 medals with a full LR team and the boost, and it's just like it's taken me like all this morning and yesterday, and I'm just now working on their LR medals, and I'm only gonna do the 2 copies because I'll just use Kai's for that extra 5. I don't have time for this.
Yeah, I just wanted to get onto like link leveling Masked Vegeta. I didn't have time for all that grinding, but okay, so LR, Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. Once they do get their fix on JP, I guess we can maybe talk about them. Hopefully, do we have a date when it's going to happen, Minato? Do you know, or?
No, but I'm assuming it'll be fixed in the update with like Super Battle Road and stuff that we're getting soon.
Yeah, the next data download.
Okay, so potentially next week they'll be fixed, and we can maybe revisit them. So, okay, so JP got a nice little catch up to a global first with a couple of Easy A's. The 3 Great Ape Easy A's, AGL Vegeta, STR Raditz, and Physical Kid Goku. So yeah, Truth, what do you think of them now that they're out on JP?
I too much going on. I haven't had a chance to grind them. I don't think they really move the needle too much, but they could certainly help free-to-play players and stuff like that with like Giant Form, Extreme Super Battle Road, right? Like they could have some limited usage in some events. Yeah, Goku stacked, so like, you know, maybe he could be good for some legendary Vegeta event mission or something.
Yeah, I think outside of the LR Vegeta that came out for the anniversary, then they probably are some of the best units on the Giant Form team just because of how limited it is. I know in the Giant Form ESBR, like after supering, they take double-digit damage, pretty much all 3 of them, which is pretty decent. But Minato, have you had a chance to try them out yet?
I literally like farmed and awakened them today. So no, this is probably more so like a global-ish question, I guess, because they just came out and there's so much to do. I haven't had time.
So yeah, I mean, obviously on global, so just from my own experience, like I say, in ESBR, they were probably 3 of the best units on the team, because obviously we didn't have the tech Great Ape Vegeta had not released at that point. Yeah, they made the no items run for that stage really easy, but I can't imagine many places that you would probably use them outside of there. Joker, what's your experience been? Obviously, they've been out on global for a while. Have you used them for anything outside of potentially Giant Form ESBR?
No, I tried to take him into the Legendary GT event while I was like right after my recording with No Lar, where we did the race between the Great Ape EZAs versus his Tech Vegeta, where I got absolutely destroyed. So that was interesting. So that's my biggest use of them. The GT event, Goku did fine because he stacks, but Raditz, you really got to feed him a lot of orbs to make him defensively viable in those later stages. And Vegeta is just okay again. Just another rip for Vegeta over there. But I would say they're just okay. They've been highly power crept out on the JP version at this point. But like Truth said, they do have limited use for, you know, newer free-to-play players that have them and can awaken them for at least one SBR stage.
One thing, right? Raditz links up pretty good with the LR Great Ape Vegeta. The only problem is that Great Ape Vegeta struggles for ki, and then Raditz needs orbs. So they don't really work the greatest together because of that.
You know who else links great with LR Great Ape Vegeta? The AGL one. Am I right, Minato?
Yeah, they're definitely right. They share 6 out of 7 links.
Yeah, but when I tried them when they first came on a global, I was not very impressed with them at all, because I remember I was recording it to help Truth out with his video, and I said, I don't know, man, these guys kind of suck. And especially at this point in JP, they're definitely going to be very underwhelming. But I do think they'll help free-to-play players, especially with the Giant Form ESBR, and outside of that, I don't see where you're ever using these units besides just as a fun gimmick team, because you're definitely not bringing them Red Zone. You get blasted into next year.
Plus, the biggest problem with them is the fact that I mean, this was kind of always the case, and they have addressed this a little bit with tweaks with their EZAs, but the link level update really kind of pushed it into this sort of territory where the biggest problem is, like, when you transform, if you get the, like, because they're all still the random chance ones, if you get the transformation into the Ozaru, they're worse than they're in their untransformed state. Like,
Oh, yeah.
I used, who was I using the other day? I can't remember who I was using. Oh yeah, it's because we had the mission for the new Infinite Dragon Ball History stage. So I had the AGL Vegeta transformed into the Giant Ape, and then once he'd untransformed, he had a higher attack stat and did more damage with his one super than all 3 of the Great Ape super attacks on the previous turn. So I feel like that's something that they need to address in the future. If they're going to make new Great Ape units or give these old units EZAs, they really need to give the actual Great Ape form some significant buffs, because yeah, it's nice that you can't take any damage for the 2 turns, but I mean, most of the time post super attack those units are not taking any damage anyway, so it's a little bit disappointing. But yeah, they're interesting units. They're not the worst, but as Truth was saying, they're not going to make a huge impact outside of maybe that one ESBR stage if you haven't done it. Obviously there is the mission for the new stage of Infinite Dragon Ball History, but outside of that, probably not going to get a huge amount of use. So, speaking of EZAs, we have another one that is upcoming very soon in the next couple of days on both versions as well, which is cool, as part of the Saiyan Day celebration. This was the one that was revealed, at least it was going to be happening during the Battle Hour event, which is the AGL Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta that transforms into Blue Evolution. So yeah, Truth, I know you've done the showcase from the data download, so what are your initial impressions on the EZA for Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta?
I think he's insanely ridiculously busted. He seems to me to be better than Tech Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta.
Oh, wow.
Which is like nuts. Like this Vegeta is going to be rocking like 400 and 500k defense a lot. He's got a great leader skill, full 170% of pure Saiyans. Obviously, the big hype is around the 200% leader skills, but I do think 170 is fine. You don't want to go below 170 to all stats, but he'll work even as a good leader, prepare for battle, royal lineage, and turn out a power. That Blue Vegeta kicks ass. He is probably going to be the best unit most people walk out of from Saiyan Day on Global NJP.
I think so. I tried him out on the server and stuff, and that I'm actually very impressed with that Vegeta. Whereas Majin Vegeta has his quirks and stuff, I think that Evolution Blue Vegeta is really, really, really good. And especially you link it up with the LR, like that's a fun rotation for sure.
Yeah, because one of the big things I noticed looking at his kit here is the fact that obviously his guaranteed 2 additional attacks, which of course previously were only ever going to be normal attacks, have a rare chance to become a super attack. So rare chance is what? Is it 15% or 10?
20, I think. Is
it 20?
It's no super chat.
I don't know. It doesn't say. I'm looking on the wiki, but it doesn't say. Oh no, there you go. 15% chance. So yeah, it's a 15% chance for it to become an additional super. So yeah, but the fact that he raises attack and defense for 1 turn on his super attack effect, he definitely can be looking very good if you get that good RNG and get those multiple additional supers. He's building up a crit chance as well. I mean, when he first released, he was good. It's just the fact that he has not aged the best when it comes to the more difficult content. But yeah, just by looking at his kit on paper, he gets a pretty significant increase. And yeah, being a 170 lead across the board for Pure Saiyans is obviously very big as well. So the weakness for his EZA is Mastered Evolution. Obviously we don't have the event yet, but his EZA should be interesting considering the fact that the Mastered Evolution leader is the STR Super Vegeta. So what do you guys think about his EZA event? Is it going to be particularly difficult, do you think, or what are we looking at? I know we don't have it in game yet, but
I don't think it'll be hard. Even if
I'll
we
have
give
it done
a
in 2
type
minutes.
disadvantage, he's going to do guaranteed crits against him. So
I mean, dude, you could just run the Blue Vegeta, like, or the transforming Vegeta, right? Like, there's the thing about these there's so many like different options you can run as a lead besides Super Vegeta.
yeah, because can't you run? Is it like the tech? the tech gods from the anniversary are on Mastered Evolution, and then
Power
their
beyond.
category, beyond
Yeah,
Super Saiyan, you can pretty much make a full Mastered Evolution team. So you can pretty much make a full tech team using the
That's
tech
what I'll be
gods
doing,
if you're on
buddy.
JP. So
That was my plan.
So for global, well, of course, one thing though, I don't think Majin Vegeta is he on Mastered Evolution?
No.
He might not be, but then you could make a team where all the other Vegetas, there's a bunch of other units that will be on there. So that'll be an interesting one to see, but obviously that's coming to the game in the next few days. So definitely very much looking forward to trying him out on the 200% team. So the only other bit of news that we have here to talk about is, I guess it's not directly Dokkan related, but of course it does still feed back into the future landscape for Dokkan. So the Dragon Ball superhero movie has been delayed due to some sort of incident with hacking with the Toei servers or something like that. I don't know the full details of the story. I saw a post about it. I didn't read into all the details, but it has caused a delay of the Dragon Ball superhero movie. Subsequently, I saw people talking about this earlier. The novel version of the movie has been delayed as well, because obviously people were joking about the fact that that would release and basically spoil the movie. So all of that has been delayed. So the big question now, of course, is a lot of people are speculating that the Golden Week, or at least something around that time of the movie release, was going to be movie related for Dokkan. So yeah, what do we think is going to happen now? Because we know Dokkan often plans this stuff months in advance. So what do we think the potential fallout for this is going to be?
I mean, they can still just drop it anyway. I mean, who cares?
I mean, I think some
Let's be
people
real.
would potentially care, right? Like, imagine if they just drop the banner just comes out for Golden Week and it's like, Ultimate Gohan Evolution and Golden Cell as a dual Dokkan Fest, and then everybody on Twitter will lose their minds. So, but realistic. So, Truth, what do you think is potentially going to happen if they've pre-planned these units to be based on the movie? Are they going to be delayed? Or are they going to have to try and move something else up from what was planned to be later? What do you think?
Here's what I was wondering. Tanabot, because I do think, like, okay, so I do think that JP was going to do the movie for Golden Week, right? Like, the timing was perfect. These games, like, they're not working on, like, the Golden Week units right now. They're already done, right? Like, these units are made months and months and months in advance. It's all planned out in advance and stuff like that. So I think potentially, like, I don't think the movie would be delayed that long. I'd like not to think. I feel like they maybe could, like, swap what Tanabata is for Golden Week. Like, they could do something like that. Currently, I'm expecting Tanabata to be like a Spirit Bomb Goku and a Kid Buu. I think they could easily some sort of, like, slide them into Golden Week and then just, move the movie stuff to Tanabata instead. And I feel like that would be very solid. Now, I don't know what's going on with Global, because it's like Global may have gotten Golden Week at the same time, but it's hard to know. Like, I don't know. Like, what's funny is if Global gets the shared Golden Week, and it's not the movie stuff, I feel like they would have anyway. So it's like all these Global players would have gotten spoiled on the movie from Dokkan, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff to talk about with this, right?
Yeah, because obviously the movie, I'm not even sure the exact dates, but obviously the movie comes out later over here than it does in Japan. So if we were getting it for Golden Week, exactly like you said, anyone not able to go see the movie in Japan is going to get spoiled, which is basically everybody here, right? So we're all would have been spoiled by the release of the units.
I'm looking for the spoilers, bro. The reason why I love the Broly movie so much is when I saw Blue Gogeta and the Broly was coming back, bro, and God Vegeta, dude. That's why I love that movie. I was so hyped for it when I saw them leaked. I was like, oh yeah, it's time. This is the best movie ever. Spoil me. Give me Ultra God Mega Ultra Instinct Gohan, bro. Give me the teasers, baby. Leak it all to me.
Yeah, so I mean, that is the thing as well, right? So obviously Japan has a very different kind of perspective and culture when it comes to spoilers for those kind of things. Because, yeah, like you said, they just straight up put Blue Gogeta in the last trailer for the movie. because it brings the hype. Obviously, some people care about spoilers, other people don't. And like you said, yeah, seeing that like Blue Gogeta was going to be in the movie was a pretty hype thing for me as well. So in terms of like, when it comes to a Dragon Ball movie, I feel like in particular, you go to see it to see the animation and to see the fights. Like knowing that Blue Gogeta was going to be in it does not in any way ruin the movie for me. So obviously everyone has their own standards when it comes to spoilers. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what Golden Week is going to be now, whether or not it will be shared with Global.
The whole thing with the spoiler thing for me as well is like the new Spider-Man movie. The reason why a majority of people wanted to see that movie is because we all knew the 3 Spider-Man were going to be in it because they couldn't hide the secret to save their lives. That's why everyone wanted to see that movie. It was because we knew they're going to be in it.
Yeah, exactly. And the poor Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield did their best for months, being like, look, I'm not in the movie, I'm telling you. And then
didn't Tobey just straight up say he was at some point or something?
Yeah,
I
he
can't
told
remember.
a fan yes. He told a random fan yes. And then Andrew was like, no, I am not in the movie.
Dude, Andrew was getting attacked, man.
But yeah, I mean, so in terms of, this is not really on the topic thing, but like in terms of hype for the movie in general, how are you guys all feeling about the upcoming movie?
I have nothing to be hyped for yet. They haven't really showed me anything.
Potential unlocked Piccolo, man.
Yeah.
Buffed into Namekian's team. Come on now.
Yeah, Piccolo where his skin just gets lighter. Yeah, so
Yeah,
It's
I am
smooth.
a
He's
bit
moisturized now.
I'm a bit thrown off by the fact that people assume that's a new form for him just from that part of the trailer. I mean, it could be, but it's
Wait,
doesn't
wait.
look like
No, it was confirmed.
They confirmed it.
different. Did they?
Yeah,
it's confirmed.
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
confirmed.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I have not seen that.
It's Ultimate Gohan. It's the exact same thing for Piccolo. Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like the latest trailer did give me that little bit of extra hype. I think the animation's looking
Ooh.
good, even though I'm not a huge fan of CG style anime. I do actually think it looks pretty cool.
You're one of those.
I am, yeah.
Look, so I have a quick question. This is kind of off topic. So Piccolo kind of gets smoother when he transforms, right? Do y'all think it gets smoother down there as well? Just a quick question.
Okay, so moving swiftly on.
Well, wait, real quick. Remember the Namekians? I don't think they have stuff like that because that's not how.
Well, actually, yeah, that
really-
is a good point. Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause-
yeah.
True.
They come from
Okay.
eggs and shit. Yeah.
But he does get smoother.
Well,
All right, well, yeah, so it remains to be seen. I'm assuming that they probably are going to do the same thing they did with the Broly movie, where we'll get another trailer not long before the release that will show whoever because it's pretty much, I think, expected at this point that there's going to be revealed the actual big main villain, whether it's going to be the 2 other guys fuse or if there is something else or who knows. So I guess we will have to wait and see. But
Some sun in your life.
in terms of Dokkan, I guess we just have to wait and see what's going to happen. So very realistically could have been the plan for Golden Week. And who knows, maybe they would just release it anyway. But with the movie being delayed and then that causing the novel to be delayed as well, I feel like it probably will get delayed if it was meant to be that. But I guess we will have to wait and see. So in terms of the topics for this week, that brings us to the end. So we'll go for a very short break here and then come back and answer a couple of the questions that we took in from you guys. So grab a drink, go to the bathroom if you need to, anything like that, and we will be back in a few minutes. Okay, so we are back from the short break. We have a couple of questions to answer here from you guys. So we are going to start off with the first one here from Freezer Tardio, who asks, is there a unit that did or didn't hit top grossing that surprised you? It could be either version, but in Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta not hitting shocked me at first. LR Jiren on Global hitting it was a shocker as well. So, Truth, are there any ones that stand out for you?
Repeat it one more time for me.
So, is there a unit that either did or didn't hit top grossing that you found surprising?
I guess I really would have thought that this Majin Vegeta would have hit it. It seemed like the hype was high. It seemed like even the Japanese players were high on it, and I think he only got to 4.
Oh, wow.
But I guess, I mean, JP Dokkan spent a month at top grossing, right? So that might have something to do with it.
Minato?
I think one that surprised me when I hit it was Physical Beerus, because even Dokkan didn't expect him to top grossing.
Wow, did he? I don't even remember that. That's
yeah,
crazy.
on JP, yeah. Right after anniversary,
Beerus,
too. He's the only
he was the
non-Saiyan,
first-
right?
Yeah, the first non-hybrid or pure Saiyan to get it, like the first non-Saiyan, basically.
Wow.
Well, a lot of people theorize one reason is because Cooler was so OP at the time, and that was his return. That is one reason. And Beerus was very good on release as well. And Whis is still useful. Like, it's a good banner.
And then since he was a Realm of Gods leader, he could use the Year 7 units on him as well. So that was pretty cool, right?
Okay, interesting.
Year 5, I mean. They said Year 7.
Yeah. Joker, are there any ones you can think of? I'm trying to think about ones for global, personally, but...
Yeah, I mean, I could meme and say Videl, but I'm not serious about that. Did
that was
the
shocking.
Kid Buu and Super Saiyan 3 Goku hit top grossing on JP at all?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, because the sales are too good.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess that's the thing as well.
New
Is,
Year's
yeah,
will always hit top grossing.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. You have to remember is that the top grossing is obviously the money made by the game. So if they release the least hype Dokkan Fest unit ever, but then they dropped like a really, really good selection of sales, everybody would buy them. So it's I don't know if necessarily it direct. Obviously, partially it will directly relate to how hype the unit is, because people who are willing to buy stones at full price to summon as much as they need to will obviously be encouraged to summon more for a unit that is more hype. But I definitely feel like it does vary based on the sales that are available. And I did think the Saiyan Day ones this year, I think they were pretty comparable to last year, where I think if you bought all just the sale stones, it was still like 1,000 stones worth of sales, which is more than we usually get for a normal Dokkan Fest. So
yeah, we normally get like 400.
Well, they did upgrade it, didn't they, finally? Because it was like 300 before, because it was always like 391 packs and 132. And now it's gone up to 491s and 232s, so it's about 400 and something. But yeah, I personally am surprised that we didn't hit it for Majin Vegeta as well, because
I thought they were number one in some global regions. I thought France and Luxembourg hit number one. But
I was gonna say we need Brussels to hold it down again, or and get us that 7 stones for one territory on global getting top grossing. But
what we need is these Saiyan Day sales like for every banner.
Yes, that would be
at the very bare minimum.
That makes so much more money, man.
Because people are going to buy the sales regardless, because they're either saving for future banners or they're going to summon on Vegeta now. So why can't they make the sales just better in general? They would make so much more money, because no one who plays Dokkan responsibly, quote unquote, is buying full price stones from the shop.
Yep. No, exactly. There are a lot of players, because we talked about this in a video on the 5-9 channel quite a while ago, that it was myself and Nolar. I think there was someone else in it as well. But like, the sales are they get you into that mindset where it's like, okay, I'm only going to buy the sale packs because they're cheaper. But if they add more sale packs, I still buy all the sale packs. So they will definitely get more sales out of people if they had more sale packs for every banner. But yeah, there you go. So interesting.
Skip me?
What's that?
You just skipped me. What the heck?
Oh yeah, sorry. Go ahead then. Go ahead. You better have a great answer for this question now.
Yeah,
the floor is yours.
Yeah. So my answer is I'm never really surprised, because top grossing, it's kind of hard to get now, because the gacha competition is actually like, there's actual good gachas out there. It isn't just where you can throw out like the most half-made gacha in the world and get like top grossing like it used to be. They actually have some competition. So Vegeta getting as high as it did is very impressive to me, even though it didn't exactly get the top grossing. The one that would have surprised me is if the anniversary didn't get it.
Yeah.
If that didn't get it, then I would have been like, yeah, Dokkan's dead. I've been joining Rhyme Style and saying Dokkan is dying next year.
I want one last thing to add. Kel Khalifa on Android actually hit top grossing like a week after the banner came out, which is really weird, because it didn't hit it on iOS, so everyone was like, oh, no top grossing. Then Android hit it. It was like, it's the only time Android hit top grossing and iOS hasn't, I think, for a banner.
Oh.
It's
Really?
pretty crazy, right? Yep.
Interesting. Well, there you go. So that was an interesting one, a different question there from Freezer Tardio. So shout out to you. Moving on to the next one. We have a question from Chilled Needs a Good Unit, which is
True.
which is, what are your thoughts on a raid mode where 10 or so players fight a boss at the same time with a shared health bar? The game plays out mostly the same besides this and opens up team building for specific tank, DPS/healer builds for each member's team. Guilds would help. So I guess this kind of has that secondary part. That's something that we've talked about before, some sort of in-game use for the friend system like guilds or something. But yeah, in terms of new game modes, I guess this just falls back into the topic that we have discussed before of, co-op modes. So, Truth, I know you, as far as I'm aware, unless your opinion has changed, not a huge fan of the idea of them adding PvP into Dokkan, but what about something like this for a bunch of players to play an event together?
Yeah, I think PvP would be a really bad idea at this stage in the game. It would just change the whole dynamic. They'd start releasing, units good for PvP. There might be units only good for PvE. It would create a whole rabbit hole of problems. But I do think co-op could be really fun and a really good idea, right? And Dokkan, like the style of gameplay, like it would sustain co-op. Like that would be fun. Like, some sort of big boss to fight with someone else. That could be a lot of fun to do, right? Like I'd definitely look forward to that.
Yeah, I think co-op would be really fun in this game. Just keep PvP away, like Truth said, because we know what happened to Blazing when they added PvP.
The only thing that scares me is that they keep talking about PvP in servers. They're like, "Oh, do you want us to add PvP? Do you want us to add PvP?" And it's like, no. So hopefully no one's voting for it.
Just make the game so much less more fun, because then we wouldn't be able to get excited. Wow, this unit's busted. It solos the game, because they'd be like, "Crap, that's gonna be a PvP now."
Joker, any additional thoughts?
Yeah, I think they already do during the big celebrations, they do the localized kind of the missions where you play a certain amount and you rank against other people. They could implement that as in terms of a raid boss where you would get placed up with a group of other randos around the world. You would work, and then how much damage you've dealt maybe would be determined against other brackets of players in their own little realm, and then you can get rewards based on that. I mean, I think that would be a good kind of medium between PvPing and while PvEing, I guess. That's my thought.
Yeah, I agree.
It's still
I
against
think,
a raid boss, though.
Yeah, exactly. There's a sort of non-direct form of co-op, I guess, already. So having it as an actual game mode, I think would definitely be quite interesting. I'm also on board with this whole definitely no PvP, but yeah, some form of co-op or something like that would be very good. And if they added in some sort of faction or guild thing, maybe along with the friend system revamp, who knows, but definitely could be very interesting. And so the third and final question comes to us from Brendan, who says, do you believe the developers/balance team, that's an interesting way of calling it because I wonder sometimes, are aware of how badly they mess up with certain units' designs? Some of the mistakes that are made seem too obvious, such as Super 17, Super Sentai, Broly, Exchange Boo, LR Majin Vegeta, etc. So Truth, what do you think? Because I know, probably just partially memeing, I know you made an offhand comment in your showcase for the STR Goten and Trunks saying that maybe Dokkan doesn't realize that they don't get to dodge in slot 1 until they attack. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, I feel like we have an example of that, and that's Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. 3 weeks after their release, they go, "Oh, our bad. We meant that they had the actual potential system." So yeah, I do think they drop Trunks and Goten oh yeah, they're dodging in slot 1, they'll be so good. It's well, that's how it works. So yeah, I think a lot of sometimes these units do slip through the cracks where they almost don't even realize. I think so.
I think sometimes it's they build these units just in intention of thinking of how they are at their max performance, but then they don't think about how the unit may perform not in their max performance or with anything like that. I said this before, I have a theory. They are purely doing calculations of their max stats, and they're like, okay, that's good, and then that's it.
They're APT boys. No,
that's what I'm saying. I have theory that they're APT boys and don't even actually play with the units.
Yeah,
they just do the math.
I swear they don't play their own game half the time as well. Because like, how do you let LR Majin Vegeta, where you only get his full passive in like one team in the game, and then like it's one of the units of Bulma, like there's no good units relating to Bulma in the game. So like, how do you do that? How do you let that happen?
I think the prime example is AJ Gohan, like just straight up, right? We all know.
Yeah,
they're like,
they just don't play their game.
It'll be cool and quirky, and we'll release this nice Android 16 with him.
I think, well, the funny thing is,
the teams.
yeah, because the funny thing, I actually remember back when that happened, and I think we got the leak that it was going to be an Android 16, but we didn't know any of the details. So immediately, because Gohan's leader skill was obviously Kamehameha or AGL types, and of course, Android 16 is not going to be on Kamehameha, so straight away, everybody was like, oh, well, this side banner unit, Android 16, obviously he's going to be AGL, so you can run him on Gohan's team. And no. No, he was not.
That's one of those cases where it's like, they definitely just don't think about this stuff. It's like, oh, that's fine. It looks cool. Release it.
Yeah, again, like you said, same thing happened with Majin Vegeta. It's like Trunks isn't even on all of his teams, right?
Yeah.
It's just annoying restrictions. Like, the restriction is, it's just the fact that it's such a good thing that you get out of those restrictions, but you can't always get it. And it's like, oh, well, that's kind of annoying, right?
Yeah,
The last time
exactly.
you transform Gohan.
Yeah, that's the thing is, with Gohan, obviously he's been a meme ever since he released, but I've always still enjoyed using him because he's still very, very good in his Super Saiyan 1 form. But yeah, I cannot remember the last time I transformed him.
Actually, if you're actually able to transform him since day one, he would have been the best unit in the game, head and shoulders, because that transformation is still extremely good to this day. But you just can never get it, like, ever.
And yeah,
I still
Majin
like to think that
Vegeta-
there's two different teams that run Dokkan, the A squad and the B squad, and sometimes the B squad takes over while the A squad's on vacation.
The-
And
Yeah,
I'm
shout
like,
out
yeah, no,
to-
Super
shout-
17, have fun with it. It's so good. We have
The
teams for
Beast-
that unit, right? Okay, yeah, have fun.
And the B squad's still stuck in like 2015, where like the best leader skill is like plus 15% HP. It's like, oh yeah, you can run all these units on the team, it'll be fine.
Yeah, LR Super 17 is another perfect example. Releasing an LR for a character who absorbs key attacks in the show, and then, like, what was it, like a month later or something? Then they actually start releasing units that absorb super attacks. It's like, man,
Damage
Why
reduction on the turn
why?
after you originally get hit.
is he like the only unit that does that as well?
I think so.
Truth, I
It's
don't know,
shit,
because
but
there's
yeah.
multiple units that have the, obviously, as soon as they take the first hit, they get extra defense or extra damage reduction. But is he the only unit that has to wait until the next turn to get his damage reduction?
We're talking about LR Super 17.
Yeah,
so.
I think he is.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's just unnecessary.
Yeah.
Right? He's also the only unit that gets a 50% chance to get key.
So
rather than just getting
stupid.
key.
Yep. What is that all
'Cause-
about? Yeah. I don't know.
Well,
It's-
They
why,
literally went out of their way to make him weird.
I was just gonna
why
say,
does
yeah.
why does he have that when he's literally like one of the only characters that actually absorb keys? So it should be like guaranteed.
Yep.
He came out too early, dude. He comes out 6 months later and he has key blast absorption, right? Like,
Dude,
he's so sick.
It's like he was built with that in mind, I swear.
Yes, it's like he absorbs 100% of Key Blast Supers always. Like, if he had that added to what he is, he'd be really good. Like, that would help a lot, right?
So
Yeah, it's like if
What
you
if
think
you-
about
attack.
if you think about the kit, it's like the 19 and Jiro are a better Super 17 unit than LR Super 17.
yeah,
'Cause they
I was gonna
absorb
say,
and
is,
heal
what
off
if you
of
flipped
super
their
attacks.
kits and gave Super 17 just the Dr. Zero 19 kit?
Yeah, and then just
They
give
could
him
be
the
like-
LR stats and 2 super
Yeah.
attacks and everything. Yeah, then he'd be great
It-
because they're a great side banner unit.
It'd be great if he released and like he absorbed super attacks and he got key from absorbing his super attacks as a bonus.
Man, if only. But
Super sad.
Like
Man,
imagine
I've
absorbing
just
super
got-
attacks, like, oh yeah.
I finally
Plus
got the
13.
I finally got the LR Super 17. It was not the Super 17 that I wanted, so now I just have to sit and wait for them to finally release a 17 and Hellfighter 17 that fuse, and then maybe then I can have a god tier Super 17. Although the
And he
AGL
will
EZA
absorb
one is still good,
T-Blast,
to be
though.
fair. But
Yeah.
yeah, who knows? Also,
That's
heroes
like
can
Super Set for Gogeta, dude.
heroes can bring me Timebreaker Super 17 at some point, I guess. But But yeah, so there you go. So that was the third and final question for today. Shout out to Brendan. Shout out to everybody that came out for today's podcast. If you did arrive late or missed any of it, the episode will, of course, be uploaded onto the YouTube channel tomorrow. So keep an eye out for that if you did miss anything, and you can catch up there. So shout out to all of the guests for today. DaTruth, Minato, Ignant, and Ice Cold Joker. I have been your host, the Masked Ningen. This has been episode 74. Saiyan Day is here, and I hope you all enjoyed, and hope you stay safe until next week. We will see you again soon. Peace out.